So I got asked by a couple of people if I would go back and kind of take a look at this NZXT all-in-one cooler. I had mentioned that I would probably see if I couldn't, do something with it. And so the goal now is to go ahead and take it apart, clean it up if I can, see if it needs to be filled, and see if I can't get it to work. It's got a really, really annoying clicking sound or clacking sound, and it's not cooling. I can kind of feel on the tubes where it feels like water is moving through, but I don't know what would be causing the noise, and so we're just going to take a look and see what happens. All right, so in a previous video we talked about this AIO. This is an NZXT Kraken M22, and it was making a very, very loud, like clicking type sound, like the motor or something like that was wrong with it. I did double check the fan. The fan runs fine. I'm going to go ahead and see if now I can't open up the motor, the pump motor, and see what's going on there and see what it looks like on the inside. See if I need to try to refill it or if the motor itself is working. So I'm going to try a couple things and we're going to see what happens. All right, so I took the top cover off and there's 4 more screws, just a Torx bit. So let's take those off, see what we're looking like inside. So I'm going to try to do this as delicately as possible, but I've already started to pull it up, and you can see that although the coolant's not very clean, I don't know, it's not really, it doesn't look horrible. Maybe this needs to be wiped down or cleaned up a little bit, so I'll use a little bit of alcohol in that. I will test that. It's just a regular fan header, so I'll plug that fan header in. It does look like it's fairly full. I don't think I want to try to put more fluid in there. But let's try this first. Let's try cleaning it up and seeing if I can't just knock some of that grime off, and then try the motor itself by plugging the motor in, and then I'll put it all back together and try that and see what happens. There is, of course, one thing to note about this, because the way I got it situated and the radiator and everything sitting like it is. This is actually the top of the loop, so if there's going to be any air that goes to the top, this is where it's going to be kept, and this is where it's going to stay. All the air gap is going to be here at the top, and I think if the motor pushes down into that and displaces a little bit of that liquid, I think it's pretty well full enough. All right, and all I've done here is hook it up to a random fan header on a PC that I've already got set up. I'm going to turn it on real quick. I'm just listening for that clicking sound. If I don't hear it, I don't want to burn the fan up, so I just want to kind of see real quickly what's going to happen and turn everything back off. So let's see what happens here. And all right, I don't hear what I was hearing before, so kill the power. I don't want to burn anything up. All right, and I'm going to try to put it all back together and see if I still get the same noises. All right, again, kind of worst case scenario, we're having the uppermost part of the loop where the pump is, and this is, I mean, the worst advisable situation. But if it's not making noise here, then maybe we can go ahead and put it back in a system and see if it can keep things cool. So this will be the next step, and then of course we're never going to mount it this way where this is the top mount, where this is the top of the loop. But let's see, and we're listening. I've just got the pump hooked up, not the fan or anything. And I can feel fluid moving, but I don't hear anything. I can hear just a faint gurgling, nowhere near the sound we had or the noise we had. So let's turn this up a little bit. Alright, I guess the next step is going to be to put it in our system, see if we can salvage it at all. See if just kind of readjusting things and cleaning things up a little bit might have helped. We've got the AIO installed right there. Cleaned up and checked out and everything. Took it apart, put it back together just to kind of see if I couldn't clean it up and see what was going on. RX 480 is the graphics card. We've got it all hooked up, and we're just going to give it a shot and see what happens. So, we already know it's plugged in. I can see the RGB on the motherboard. Well, on top of the noise that you can probably still hear, so I didn't get rid of that, I also cannot get it to post. So I've tried a couple of different memory configurations. I've tried to reset the CMOS. I've tried to change the CMOS battery. And so this is going to take a bigger, this is going to be a bigger fish to fry. The tubes themselves, one feels a little bit warmer, one feels a little bit cooler, and I can feel liquid going through there, but it's still, I can't check the temps because I can't get it to post. For my own sanity, I went ahead and put it at 1030 in, and guess what? I got to go back and check that 4800 or the RX 480 now. The other side of this is we do have confirmation that no, that AIO is toast. Yeah, it's not even getting to idle, and that's not going to work. So back to the drawing board. Maybe there's no fixing this thing. So as you can see, it was a total failure. Now, it's not time wasted because I did get a chance to take a look and see. And at first, when I took all the parts apart, checked them out, put everything back together, and tested it just on its own, it seemed to be okay. It wasn't making the noise. But the first time I introduced any kind of heat to it or any kind of transfer or like put it on the CPU, it started its games again. And it just, now, even though I take it off, it still does that. There's no, it's constantly noisy. So I don't know what I'm going to do past this. I doubt that I will go back and try to, I doubt that I'll go back and try to fix it more. I might try to flush it out or something. But the reviews on this AIO, this all-in-one cooler, are horrible. Especially this single unit, this M22. And I hate to say that about any product, especially from a company that's usually a good company. But this just appears to be a poor design and does not last very long at all. So it is what it is. I did go back and test the RX 480 in another system. It does work fine for my own sanity. I did test a couple other video cards, including an RTX 3060 in that same computer to make sure that it didn't have anything to do with the power plug. It worked fine. However, when I've gone back and tried to test the RX 480 in that computer, it doesn't post. I can also use a riser cable to test the RX 480, and it works great. And so I don't know. It's got to be something to do with the way that connects into the board and how securely, and maybe something's not. I don't know. It kind of befuddles me. But regardless, I'll probably use a different video card altogether when that becomes sort of my server. Anyway, that is, I figured I would go back. Some people had asked me about it, so I figured I would go back and entertain it and see if I couldn't do something to fix that all-in-one cooler. And at this point, I can't. Maybe somebody knows something better than me, but I just, this one I'm just going to chalk up as a loss, and a couple of interesting videos. They can't all be wins, right? Anyway, before I leave, don't forget to do all those socials, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. And the one final thing I have to ask you to do is the same thing I ask you to do every time. Just be nice to somebody. Wave, smile, be kind, do something, make your day a little bit better, make their day a little bit better. Heck, somebody might do something nice for you and make your day better without you even thinking about it. Who knows? Anyway, that is all I've got. I've got other stuff coming up. You guys are familiar with some of that if you're a friend of the channel. And if not, don't be afraid to subscribe and hang around. There's a couple of weird and interesting experiments coming along. And I'm going to start gaming again, looking at No Man's Sky to begin with, and their update, their 4.0 update. A lot of people not happy about that. But anyway, it is all I have for this time. So until the next time, folks, I will see you later.